What's going on? Back with Ask Luka, and another nutrition question. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff coming in from nutrition. I sent out an email. We're going to have a nutrition seminar soon here at Vigor, but I'm also going to do a webinar online called The Last Nutrition Seminar, because it's going to be the last nutrition seminar you ever need to hear as far as information goes to get all the results that you want, right? So there's no overwhelm. But the question that I got back in one of the emails, actually a number of questions, and a lot of them related to this one, which was that, lately they've been starting to start preparing meals more, but the toughest time, having flexibility in dieting, one, and also having good choices, but that's usually where they fall off with nutrition is when stress happens, when something is not the way that was planned. What are some go-to solutions when it comes to foods and nutrition? Right? It's a little bit of a broader question, but it does bring up some things that are very, very important, because I wanted to kind of zoom out first before I go more in detail. Number one is this, right? You really have to set goals. And what I'm going to do, I'll just put a link below for where you can upload one of my books that has a whole goal setting plan in it. But more importantly, it's like, you got to look like 90 days out, and I like 90-day outcomes, where you look out and say, hey, this is what I want to achieve. Not only what do I want to achieve, why do I want to achieve it, how am I going to achieve it, and then obviously the timeline, which is 90 days. But if it was 8 weeks, it would be 8 weeks, right? So it's what, why, and how, because then you have a path, and you have a plan, and you have a why. See, the thing that I always say is, if you don't have a path and a plan, the default is always struggle, right? So if you default without having a path and plan and action steps that you follow, it will always be struggle. So understanding why you're doing it, so that there's a deep connection to, I actually give a shit, right? It's like getting up in the morning. If you get up in the morning, you don't have a deep enough reason to get up, because like this is a burning desire inside of you to change your body, right? You're going to press the snooze button. So without that why, when you take away external factors, which is, maybe a community and a coach and all these other things, like you're not going to follow through, right? Part of the answer already was there in like preparation. See, so once you have the why, you have the desire, then you need the path and the plan and to-dos. And preparation is part of it. But the first step here that was key with this question is this, right? When I get stressed out, right, and I don't have the flexibility, is usually when I reach for choices that are not in line with my goals. So step number one is actually to find out when and what happens before you get hungry, right? Because the thing is like a lot of hunger is connected to just stress. It's a reaction. It's not actual true hunger. So it's like, what makes you feel that way? And in this situation, it said lunch. So around lunchtime, right? So first we got to find out, what are the feelings that we're feeling? Is it stress from work? Is it whatever it may be, right? Maybe it's an environment, maybe some people that get you riled up, right, that make you hungry. The other thing is too, is like I'm a big proponent of water. If you're dehydrated throughout the day, you're going to get hungry. So if you're constantly drinking water, at least a half a gallon, if not a gallon a day, then you're going to stay fuller, right? And you're not going to get as hungry. But if I start understanding like when I get emotional, we talked about this in the previous Ask Luka, right? The emotional eating. Like, when do I get emotional? When do I get stressed out? When I reach for food. Now I start getting the path and the plan. It's like, okay, for lunch, I'm always doing this, great. So every Sunday, prepare for 3-4 days ahead of what you're going to have for lunch. And here's the thing is, make food that you like. Make food that you enjoy. So if you get stressed out, you're still reaching for food that's in line with your goals. Great resources. There's a ton of resources out there. I love Gourmet Nutrition Cookbook. It's by Precision Nutrition, where you can make 5-10 minute meals, tons of appetizers that like high in protein, veggies, good fats, good carbs for post-training. But the thing is like it takes a lot less time than you think. So if you take an hour on a Sunday and you're good till Wednesday or Thursday, I mean, that's a great use of your time. People say I don't have time, but maybe you're going out to lunch somewhere, and in one day you're actually spending more time than it would take for you to prepare for the whole week, right? So now you kind of see where we're going, wide to narrow. What's the reason? What's the reason why you're even doing this and why it matters, right? What's the plan? What's the path? What's the plan? How are you going to do it? And then finding out, what are the things that trigger you? What are the emotions, the people, the environment that triggers you to reach for the foods that are not in line with your goals, right? And once you start noting that and going like, wow, okay, these are the times, these are the people, if you can't avoid it, be prepared. Have the right foods that you prepare that day or the day before, or best thing like on a Sunday for the rest of the week, and you're already in a better position. And that's just one thing. Don't even think about 100 other things that you should be doing. That's just one thing that you can do. Start implementing that and watch how much changes for you, right? And just remember, water is a huge component. Being hydrated is a huge component and is going to help you from feeling hungry as well. All right, so take those steps. Like I said, there's easily, we could go and say, hey, here's all these different things that you could do. But this is stuff that you can do right now, and it's like one or two things that will really help you move forward. But you got to be consistent and persistent with it. All right, so put it to play, and I will see you soon with another Ask Luka.